Nina Lin has just served her second ban on Twitch. Her first ban was 1 day, second ban was 1 week. Both bans were due to sexual assault. Sexual assault that was caught on camera, on stream. And both times she committed sexual assault against a man. So, first time she committed sexual assault against a man, 1 day ban. Second time, 1 week ban. And there's a lot of discourse online about her being unbanned, especially after the second time. And many people, rightfully so, asking how exactly is it that she's being unbanned? Why is she just getting a slap on the wrist and being allowed to stream again on Twitch? In my opinion, I believe this is due to how Dan Clancy, the CEO of Twitch, is running Twitch. We've all seen how he's running Twitch. He's running it into the ground. He's a known gooner. He's been caught being subscribed to adult websites. And in my belief, I think that Dan Clancy wants to turn Twitch into his own gooning platform. It's the reason why, go on to Twitch and it's just easy to see all types of OnlyFans models on the front page in a bathtub or just in some kind of lingerie or some kind of bikini showing a whole lot of cleavage and whatnot. And I believe Nina Lin is receiving preferential treatment, just like these OnlyFans models. So that's why, after a 1 week ban, which was her second ban for sexual assault, she's allowed to once again stream on Twitch. So first off, I say Twitch needs to be held accountable. Dan Clancy needs to be held accountable for what's going on Twitch. The other person that needs to be held accountable is, of course, Nina Lin. Because after her second unban, which lasted just 1 week, she's come out and made some videos, spoke about the situation, and she has shown that there's no remorse in what she did. There's no remorse. And when she talks about the sexual assault, she talks about it from the point of view of she's the victim, a self-proclaimed victim to be exact, because we've all seen the videos of her sexually assaulting men, and and it's not easy to look at. Not easy to look at. In one of the videos, you have one of the men saying, "No, no, stop it, no." Yeah, he may be smiling and giggling, ha ha ha, but at the time he is saying no. You can tell it's more of a nervous laugh, a nervous giggle. He's trying to keep calm in the situation, which is a normal human reaction. When something's happening that you don't like, a lot of people smile, they giggle in the situation, they try to keep calm, but that doesn't mean they are enjoying the situation. In the second clip, the other man that she's sexually assaulting, he laid down on a massage table to go ahead and get a massage from a masseuse. She stepped in and just decided that she's going to be the masseuse out of nowhere, and just started touching his backside, just out of nowhere. And to her, it was, oh, that's okay, that's fine, right? And I have yet to see her explain what was her thought process of when she was performing these sexual assaults. Instead, all she does is throw out profanities and say, screw all the haters. She mentions Asmongold living in his mom's basement. Flips off all the haters, right? And then continues to say, actually, one of the things she did say was that she's had it worse, and it hasn't, she's had it worse. And then she actually stops and she's like, okay, that doesn't sound too good. But then she goes ahead, she's had it worse. This is not the worst she's had it, which is sad to say. It's sad to say because besides the sexual assault, she has committed domestic abuse against the minor for the better part of 10 years. And for those who don't know, She used to beat her stepbrother. She used to beat him, and she beat him so bad to the point that CPS got involved, Child Protective Services, and she said, if I remember correctly, her and her family had to flee China. Flee to China because CPS was called. This is insane. It is completely insane that a person like this is still allowed to 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 stream on Twitch. Actually, not just stream on Twitch, but to be on social media at all. And then not only to be on social media, but to be walking free. Sexual assault and domestic abuse is not um it's not a joke. It's not to be taken lightly at all. You know, it's not to be taken lightly at all because these are crimes that affect people for their entire lives. You know, these are, for lack of a better word, these are things that will follow a person for their entirety of their life. You know, this person, you know, like for example, the two men that she sexually assaulted, could be that one day they decide, you know what, let me try to get romantic with a girl. Let me start flirting, right? Maybe, you know, I could take it further than just being romantic, propose, get married, have kids, right? Because why not? You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But in the back of their minds, they're going to be thinking, hold on, hold on. I was sexually assaulted by a woman. Is there a chance that that could happen again? You know? And then so now all of a sudden, because all of a sudden, you know, now you have these two men that could potentially lose all trust in women. Doesn't matter where the woman's coming from, but just lose complete trust in all women, and never see women as being innocent. Even if it's just a woman that they walking down the street and she says, "Hi, I like your shirt." It could be like, is she telling the truth, or is she or is she trying to take advantage of me? What's going on here? And it may sound stupid, but it's the truth. That's what sexually abusing a person does. It messes with your mind. It warps your mind. This is not something to take lightly at all. And I know that Nina Lin posted an apology on Twitter. But this apology was just her self-proclaiming herself as a victim, which is extremely sad, a sad thing to do. Because yes, she's involved in, you know, in the sexual assault. But for crying out loud, you know, you're the perpetrator. You're the one who committed the crime. No one's like, anyone that feels sorry for her needs to get themselves checked out. Needs to get offline, throw away all their IoT devices, and any device that they have that can connect to the internet in any way. Throw them all away. Sit in your room. Okay, grab a mirror and just look at yourself and ask yourself, do you think you're headed in the right direction? Because there's no way that any right-minded person, any sane person, can defend her in this situation. Yet we have Twitch, who's defending her. Now, Twitch hasn't come out and put out a statement saying, we stand with Nina Lin. We're going to help her get through this. No, they haven't put out a statement like that. But they've unbanned her twice. And that says a lot. That says, you know what, sexual assault, it's okay. We'll ban you, but it's nothing. The ban won't be for long, a week maximum. And on the minimum, a day, 24 hours. You're okay. All that says is Continue with the continue with the sexual assault and domestic abuse. Keep going. It doesn't matter. It's okay. No, it's not okay. It's absolutely wrong. And for her to 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 act as if she's the victim shows that there's a good chance she will commit sexual assault again. It really does. Because she's doubling down. She's doubling down, okay? And she's getting upset at those talking about her committing sexual assault and domestic abuse. In life, there's two ways to learn anything. Doesn't matter what it is. Two ways. And I won't go into detail in what those two ways are, because those two ways that I'm about to mention are self-explanatory. The first way to learn anything in life is the easy way. And the second way to learn anything in life is through trauma. And unfortunately, right now, Nina Lin is setting herself up to learn the second way through trauma. Because you commit sexual assault and domestic abuse, and then you become a self-proclaimed victim. Prepare for an extremely tough life. Because if I'm not mistaken, she's in her early 20s. Okay, I'm 34, and I can tell you right now, the difference between a 24-year-old and a 34-year-old is vast. It's a vast difference, especially if in those 10 years you've worked on yourself to become a better person, to wise up, to mature. If you've actively working on yourself, then yes, the difference between a 24-year-old and a 34-year-old is vast. Okay? And at 34, you're not old. I know to some people in their 20s, especially in the early 20s and late teens, you might be like, oh, wow, 34-year-old, you're not 34-year-old. No, you might have some white hairs like I do right here on my chin. But you're not old. You're still young. You still have a lot of youth left in yourself. And at 34, you still have a chance to turn things around. But at 34, you start to notice any bad habits that you formed in your 20s, you keep them. You keep them going into your 30s. And if you keep them going into your 30s, you'll keep them for the rest of your life. You start to notice that in your 30s. You really, really do. In your 30s, you do get a glimpse of what being old is like. It's just a slight glimpse, but you just get a momentary look into what it's like. And Nina Lin right now has the opportunity as a young woman to change things around. But if she keeps doubling down and believing that the whole world is against her, that she's a victim, she's going to have an extremely tough life. And that's putting it lightly. Extremely lightly. Because one day she's going to come across another person who's not going to take any of her bullshit. Because right now, the people that are not taking any of her bullshit are sitting behind a computer like I am, or like Aspen Gold is, right? Or like Charlie from from what's his name, Penguin Zero or Critical Moist, like the way we're doing, just sitting behind a computer and making videos and calling her out. One day she keeps going down this path, she will meet a person. Okay, she'll come across someone in person, not across the internet, in person, because this is how life works. You're gonna come across someone in person who's not gonna take any of her shit. Any of her shit. And that only happens if you're unwilling to learn the easy way. It only happens if you're willing to learn through trauma. And that's sad. It's sad. Because by then, all the bad habits that she's cultivated would not allow her to see, oh crap, I put myself into this position. And I need to take myself out. And here's the thing. Learning through trauma usually is an extremely difficult process, because getting to the point of learning through trauma means you're extremely stubborn. Your ego is the size of the sun. You're an extremely narcissistic person. You're extremely selfish. and you believe that you're right 24/7. So when you learn through trauma, the trauma needs to be extensive for you to learn, for you to say, uh-oh, I gotta change things around. Things are getting nasty. And if and, you know, and I don't want things to get nastier. So let me change things around. Which is an unbelievably sad way to live your life. For anyone to live their life that way. Unbelievably sad way for anyone to live their life that way. Anyways, I've said enough. I did watch some videos here on Twitter of what she had to say. I'll go ahead and play that now. I wanted to play the videos before, but then I thought, you know what? Let me say my piece, and then I'll go ahead and show what Nina Lin has to say. So, in this first video, it says right here, Nina Lin, this is Asmongold in her stream. Actually, that's not the first one. The first one is Asmongold response, which is the same video twice. So I guess let's watch. Here we got, 2 in 1.
So I don't care. Say whatever you want.
Bro.
Sorry.
That weird motherfucker that lives in the basement of his mom's house.
It's an attic, excuse you.
Be chatting about me all.
Yeah, I'm sorry, just noticed my camera was covering the video.
Damn day long. You are obsessed with me. I think you in love with me. No cap. I genuinely think you get no pussy and you in love with me, bro. Like, you gotta
Talk whatever you want. Crash out however much you want. That's totally fine. Nothing that you're going to say is going to make me mad. You're not going to upset me. You're not going to bait me into, some weird internet beef. You're just a disgusting bitch. That's it. And it's got nothing to do with this about me at all. That's it. So I don't care. Say whatever you want. Nobody gives a fuck.
See, and okay, this right here goes back to what I was saying. She's a self-proclaimed victim. Like Asmon just said, this has nothing to do with him, but she's trying to make it about him. He's absolutely correct. Has nothing to do with him. But since she's a self-proclaimed victim, she wants to take all the negative attention that's being poured towards her and pour it towards someone else. In this case, she's trying to pour it towards Asmongold. And that ain't gonna work because he's already said whatever video she makes, whatever she says, whenever she screws up, because he said it, she's going to screw up again. And I 100% completely agree. She will screw up again because she's a self-proclaimed victim. And self-proclaimed victims tell on themselves all the time, in any situation, at any time. Okay? That's what they do, and it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. It's like an alcoholic. You can bet an alcoholic is going to drink every day. You won't lose that bet. Same thing with self-proclaimed victims. They're going to blame someone else but themselves every day, no matter what. But again, see, this is her not taking accountability for her actions. It's someone else's fault. Someone else's fault. You committed the sexual assault, but it's someone else's fault because she got banned. If life worked like that, the way she thinks it works, if that's how things actually went, life on earth would actually be life in hell. That's where we would be right now. In hell, and thankfully, thank God, we're not in hell right now. And thankfully, there are people who are trying to hold her accountable. That's the first video. Second video is the same one again. We're talking again about Asmongold. Here's this one. This one was actually very interesting. Because again, it shows just how narcissistic she is. How it shows, just like I was saying before, her ego's the size of the sun.
There was one person that you was like, damn, I think you have my back. Not have my back. I didn't expect nothing, but I didn't expect them to throw my name in the dirt like that. Who? It's not even the person. Like people, the biggest people. I don't give a fuck. To be honest, if I don't know you, I don't give a shit what you say. You just autistic to me. Like, it doesn't matter. But it was one of them. I've actually used to do videos with a lot. I was like, damn, and she was actually a fan of mine.
Oh, girl, what's her name?
Can't tell you the name, bro. Can't say the name.
Do we know who? Do we know?
I don't know. I don't want bitches to cry, but you feel me?
But do we know her?
Switch up real quick, real fast, even though they have my number and my text. You could have done all that. Like, you feel me?
My thoughts aren't changed. Actually, what I will say is my thoughts were changed A while ago when she posted her like Instagram apology, which is when I saw that she unfollowed me, and I actually like respected her for the Instagram apology. And then my thoughts changed back to what they were initially when I saw the clips from her stream yesterday. That's all. So, but once again, I don't take back like anything I said. Oh, I do have one thing to add though. She did mention something while like in the clip that I saw of her saying like Fanfan has my number. She could have texted me about it. And like, but the truth is, as someone who dealt with sexual assault and shit like that, I don't feel comfortable reaching out to people who are the perpetrator. So I just didn't really feel comfortable like interacting with her. That's all.
All right, so like I said, this video's like it's a perfect example of, again, just like her other video. It's an extremely it's a perfect example of how narcissistic she is. Again, she's the victim. This lady here goes ahead, says her piece, what she thinks, right? And then Nina Lin turns around and says, "Oh wow, that's awful. You threw me under the bus. I thought we were friends." Like, you know, and the thing is, like, in what universe does Nina Lin think that anybody wants to be associated with someone who commits sexual assault? What universe does anyone want to be associated with anyone like that? In my opinion, there's no universe. There's not a single universe out there in the multiverse where anyone wants to be associated with someone who's gone ahead and committed sexual assault. Because what's the point of that? What's the point? What's there to gain from it? Nothing. Actually, you know what? You could say there is something to gain, but there's nothing good. It's only going to be infamy and pain, which no one wants infamy and pain at all, because there's nothing good coming out of infamy and pain. What exactly is it that Nina Lin is upset about? She had a friend, and the friend said, "You know what? That's it. I'm cutting ties with you. We're no longer friends," and now she's upset. Like, and the lady says it in the video. She doesn't want to contact someone who's committed sexual abuse. She even says she's been a victim of sexual abuse. And to build up upon that, the thing is, you don't even have to be a victim of sexual abuse to cut ties with someone who's committed sexual abuse. If one of my friends committed sexual abuse, I'd be like, that's it. We're done. There's nothing to talk about here. Our friendship of however many decades, years, whatever, how long it is, we are completely done. It's over. We're not going to talk to each other anymore. You go your way, I go my way. Hopefully the justice system does this thing and puts you in prison. Because that's another thing I haven't said. Most people here online are talking about, oh, she's just banned for a day. She's just banned for a week. And then that's it. She needs to be banned permanently. And I agree, she needs to be banned permanently. But more importantly, like I said in my Miskit video, she needs to face time in prison for her crimes, just like Miskif. Miskif has also been accused of sexual assault and domestic abuse. Okay? And he needs to answer for his crimes, just like Nina Lin. Nina Lin almost answered for her crimes when she was beating her younger stepbrother, who was a minor at the time, for the better part of 10 years, better part of a decade, beating on him. Child services got involved. Child protective services got involved. And she had to flee to China to get away from the law, to get away from the justice system here in the United States. She got close just to facing time in prison for her crimes. She didn't. Hopefully one day she does. Because watching a criminal walk free is despicable. Nobody wants to watch a criminal walk free. And you don't want to know something? If you ask her, Nina Lin, should criminals walk free? Huh? should perpetrators of sexual assault and domestic abuse just walk free? There's a good chance she'll say no. And I say a good chance because she's walking free right now. And she's trying to take all this negative attention that's being aimed at her and aim it somewhere else. So that's why I say there's a good chance she might say yes. At the same time, there's a good chance she might even just completely dodge the question and talk about something else that has nothing to do with what's going on at this moment. So it's an extremely sad situation. In this video, I really don't need to play it. It has been talking about Twitch and Dan Clancy. I spoke about that at the beginning of this video. Dan is running Twitch into the ground. I believe Dan Clancy should step down as CEO of Twitch because he's a known gooner and he's turning Twitch into a platform for complete degenerates. In my opinion, he, like I said before, he wants to turn Twitch into his own gooning platform. And another thing, this is just a random thought that I had on a previous video of Asmin when he was talking about New World. When New World is since it's been announced that it's shutting down, and people in his chat were saying, well, why doesn't Asmin buy it? And Asmin went through the whole spiel of raising the capital to purchase the game would be easy, but then the thing is running the game. That's where things get difficult. And I agree. But it did get me thinking. It doesn't Asmin get the capital to purchase Twitch? I think he could do a better job than Dan Clancy. I know there's an extremely good chance that Asmin would not want to run Twitch, but in my opinion, what if he gets somehow together with Elon Musk and then they go ahead and take over Twitch and turn it into the platform that Twitch can be? That's just food for thought. I definitely think that if Elon Musk was running Twitch and Asmin somehow was involved in in the acquisition and the restructuring, right, of Twitch, I think Twitch could become a respectable streaming platform. It could get to the point where it could most likely take down Cake, who has the 95.5 revenue split, and most likely take down TikTok and YouTube in respects to live streaming. But anyways, like I said, that's just food for thought. And as always, leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below.